Okay, so as we know, Ghiberti won first place in the contest. Second place went to Filippo Brunelleschi, 1377-1446. Now, Brunelleschi concentrated on architecture and he completed a dome in Florence. He used a double shell dome and others began to imitate him. So he is created also with developing linear perspective. So Brunelleschi, huge, important, important. Now, Masaccio. He's a Renaissance painter, 1401 to 28. He employed Brunelleschi's ideas, both linear perspective and aerial perspective, in frescoes. Remember, frescoes are paintings outdoors. And he has a tremendous and lasting influence on art. Masaccio. Donatello. He is the founder of modern sculpture. He has a bronze David, and this is the first freestanding nude to be cast since antiquity, since the Romans and the Greeks. And it has natural and expressive character. And again, you'll notice the contrapposto pose, weight on one leg. Donatello, yeah, like a teenage mutant ninja turtle. Botticelli, the Birth of Venus. Now, this is an image of female beauty that's lasted throughout centuries, the idealistic, beautiful female. And it's also one of the first full-length nude paintings since antiquity. Remember, for a while, during medieval times, it was a little dark because people were so religious and so strict. So for some, seeing this was shocking. High Renaissance artist. Of course, Leonardo da Vinci, 1452 to 1519. He was an inventor, an architect, an engineer, a painter, a sculptor, a scientist, and a musician. He even designed locks for canals. The man was just simply amazing. And of course, everyone knows Mona Lisa. He also made drawings of helicopters and submarines, which are actually viable. Now, he's credited with the technique of sfumato. Fumo means smoke, and sfumato is a mellow color with a blurred outline. So if we look back here, colors are very mellow, and see the outlines are a bit blurred, so kind of like blends in. And if you think, it's not very detailed or very specific, but if you think about looking off into the distance, that this is realistic. We don't have those exact details. And here is the Last Supper, again, Leonardo da Vinci. And you see kind of the sfumato, again, the blurring back here and kind of the mellow colors. Michelangelo di Buonarroti, or Michelangelo. Now, he was in a competition, and the winner would get to carve out of this beautiful piece of marble. But people didn't know until it was too late that it was flawed. Well, from that, he created the David, the one that people know so well. But because of the flaw, he had to have the David pose the way he did, with the arm up and the one on the side. And Michelangelo becomes the embodiment of the spirit of Florence. Again, Michelangelo did a number of things. He painted, he sculpted, he wrote poetry. And Pope Julius II has him do the Sistine Chapel from 1508 to 1512. It took him 4 years. And they were restored recently. So just an idea, if you're below, you're looking up, these are the things that you're seeing. Of course, this is one of the most famous pieces, with God kind of breathing life into Adam, the creation. And then you're going to see then, God kicking them out of the garden, or giving him Eve, and then being tempted and kicked out. So if you look up here, they are just different scenes from the Bible. And here is the David. Again, flaw in the marble. So this is why you've got to have that arm up here, and then, of course, the contrapposto pose. Other high Renaissance artists, Raphael Sanzio, just known as Raphael. So again, there you go. There are your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Raphael, Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Donatello. Julius II also gave Raphael commissions, and Raphael learned from Michelangelo. What Raphael did that was different is he had assistants help him. So he would have them perhaps do the drawing or the rough portions of a painting, and then Raphael would step in and do the finishing parts. He could get more done, but Michelangelo had to do everything. He is the most influential painter of the Madonna, and that would be the Virgin Mary with the baby Jesus. And his Virgin Mary has endured in religious paintings. Most people use his idea, so there's Mary with a little baby. And he also created the School of Athens. So here's the Madonna, but School of Athens. And down here is the painting. We have Socrates sitting on the steps. And this is what used to happen when people went to school. It was just a group of people getting together and having conversations about ideas. Now, in Venice, we have Giorgione, 1477 or 78 to 1510. He has innovations in landscape. So Giorgione is known for landscape. Giorgione landscape. He did not paint Bible or mythological scenes, which most artists usually painted, because they figured that if it was mythological or if it was from the Bible, it would be accepted by the public at large. And others usually painted the figures first and added the landscape, but that wasn't the case here. Landscape was more important to Giorgione, and you can see figures are kind of here added in as, afterthought. They're not the focus of the piece. All right, Titian Vaselli, he is known mainly by the name Titian. He is the most prolific Venetian painter, and portraits of patrons, he uses colors, and he uses other elements for a backdrop, like a curtain or a column. So his are a little different here. This is a biblical scene, and this is not John the Baptist. Some other person was beheaded. I can't quite remember who it was. Tintoretto. He is known as a mannerist, and he's going to have a distortion of elements and twisted position of subjects. So you see here, they're never quite just standing straight up. And if you're having the characters twist, you can add in the muscles. So you notice how we have kind of exaggerated muscles here. It's like a 24-pack. And then dramatic angles. And chiaroscuro, which is the use of light and dark. So you see light back here, but still some dark elements. So when you have this light and dark, it's called chiaroscuro. Later work employs religious figures. The Reformation. Protestants start criticizing the opulence of the Catholic Church, so art's going to move away from richly decorated churches. But church has a counter-reformation, and so they're going to emphasize more lavish works in the South. So Domenico's Theotokopoulos, or El Greco, is influenced by Tintoretto, and he actually worked in Titian's workshop. In 1576, El Greco leaves Italy for Spain. And of course, El Greco means the Greek. El Greco, again, a well-known Mannerist painter. His figures are elongated. If you take a look at these fingers, see that they seem to be a bit more, a little longer than most people. And he's now bridging the art movement to the Baroque period. Renaissance in Northern Europe, Matthias Grunewald, 1475-1528. Only 10 of his works survive. They were religious scenes and scenes of the crucifixion. And we have Albrecht Dürer, 1471-1528. And these are the greatest artists in Northern Europe, Grunewald and Dürer. This is the Eisenheim altarpiece. This is Grunewald's most famous piece. And again, showing different little scenes from the Bible. Now, Albrecht Dürer, he's the most famous artist of the German Reformation. He was influenced more by Gothic artists than Renaissance. He wanted to combine naturalistic ideas with theories. So he travels to Italy. Imagine traveling during this time period. And he studies them, and he wrote about theories of art. So he's publishing these ideas. And he published woodcuts and copper engravings. Dürer is known for his engravings. And here's the four horsemen of the apocalypse. And this again would be, hold on, what kind of piece? Oh yeah, it's a woodcut. So you would do something in the cutting, so then you could put the ink on it and then put paper on it, and then you can make prints of it. Hans Holbein the Younger, 1497 to 1543. He was also important in the German Reformation. He was one of the greatest Renaissance portraitists. He was born in Germany. However, he was known for the work he did in England, and he became a court painter to Henry VIII. He painted portraits of Henry VIII, and he could capture the details and a psychological character. And he was the model for English painting until the 19th century, so great influence in England. And here is Hans Holbein the Younger's portrait of Henry VIII. It's a little more realistic. He's showing him when he was fatter, not thinner, and you can kind of get an idea what the man was like. Baroque, next period. Usually this is artwork from the late 16th to early mid-18th century. It's less static than Renaissance. Baroque is going to have a greater sense of movement and energy, so it's Renaissance, but this with a little more oomph. Political structures are differing here. Renaissance had wars between city-states, but now Baroque is going to have war between empires. So again, things on a bigger scale. The church is very strong in Spain and Italy, and Jesuits want to convert more people. And Baroque is also emotional. So artists are aiming at dramatic appeals to faith. 17th and 18th century felt power was a divine right. So kings and queens literally said, I am a king and queen because God said I should be, and God speaks through me. So the rulers are very strong. Empress Maria Theresa of Austria, she is a tremendous power. I believe her daughter was Marie Antoinette. And of course we have Peter the Great and Catherine the Great of Russia. They do so much for their countries at that time. And Louis the 14th, the Sun King. They are very rich. They live in luxury, while ordinary people live with difficulty. People start to protest against this. Why should you have everything and we have so little? And then we have the Enlightenment period coming along with the author Jean-Jacques Rousseau. And still in Baroque, they're moving away from simplicity and calmness. Baroque comes to mean richness in color and ornamentation. You know, it's like bedazzling everything. Dramatic works, dramatic ways, and using chiaroscuro to create a spotlight. Caravaggio, 1571-1610. Dramatic use of light and dark, so dramatic use of chiaroscuro, very influential. People start imitating Caravaggio's techniques and they call it Caravaggesque. And he was notable for naturalism, depicting religious figures as poor people now. And he's using lower class people as models. So the rich patrons are going to reject his art or his work because they don't want to have peasants in their work. And look at this. Look at the light and the dark here. How the figures seem to be kind of the faces standing out in these shadows, and you can see this play. It's as if a spotlight is being shown in the dark. So you see the hands down here, just portions of the faces, but not all of them because they're still hidden in shadow. It's a great talent to create this. Artemisia Gentileschi, 1593-1652, a woman. She was the daughter of a painter, and she was lucky that she got to work in her father's studio. Very unusual. Women usually weren't given this ability, and so she's known for her ability to incorporate Caravaggio's techniques, not as much, it's not as dark, but we still see it in the background. And she does self-portraits and also Old Testament women. This is Judith putting a tent spike through a king's head. And we're going to end here for now.